So let's do a relaxation response today. And I usually have used phrases and breathe in with one phrase and breathe out with another. Does anybody have another one that they want to do? Okay. So let's breathe in, I am at peace, and breathe out,
I am strong.
excellent, thank you. Okay, so breathe in with I am at peace, and breathe out, I am strong. And breathe in and out. Breathe in, I am at peace, and out, I am strong. I am at peace, and I am strong. I am at peace, and I am strong. Peace, and I am strong. I am at peace, and I am strong. I am at peace, and I am strong. I am at peace, and I am strong. Okay. So let's go ahead and start our session 9, which is on page 53. Setting a weekly action plan and a daily or weekly personal log. Would anybody like to read on page 54? The weekly action plan and personal log. Learning to create a weekly action plan that helps a person reach his or her whole health goal is crucial to success. The actions must be healthy and such that a person can engage in them multiple times a week. Action plans for goals that require developing a new behavior, habit, or lifestyle. While the actions in the weekly action plan may vary from week to week, the actions need to relate to the set goal and consist of healthy behaviors that create a new discipline in one's lifestyle. Remember, the action plan needs to be something that the person wants to do and can expect to do during the next week. The action plan needs to focus on what a person is creating that is new and is helping him or her move in the desired direction, not changing or eliminating what is wrong. Don't focus on bad habits. That gives these habits power. Remember, whatever you focus your energies on, you give power to. Therefore, focus on what you want to create, not on what you want to change. The action plan needs to focus on creating good habits, not getting rid of bad habits. If a person wants to create an action plan for eliminating certain things in his or her life, that is okay, but it is best to stay focused on the positive, what the person wants, and the person's strengths. Also, it is helpful if the plan contains actions that the person is able to take multiple times during the week in order to establish a new discipline in his or her life. Okay, so some things I could possibly do or need to do each week to accomplish my goal are, let's try and come up with about 5 goals that people could do. Now, these are just things that could happen. You don't have to say they're going to happen, and this doesn't have to be your final goal. This is just to give everybody an idea of what the goals should look like. Does that make sense? Okay. So the easiest way to come up with that is to look at the examples they have on page 55. And they've broken it down to all the different areas that we've covered so far in our book. And you can just choose 1 or 2 from each area. I would suggest, if you're going to make a goal, to not do more than 2 at a time, because it can be difficult to create too many habits at one time. And if you focus on 1 or 2, then you're going to be able to succeed at that. And what we want to do is write them positively, as I stated, and you would need pens for that. So I'll hand those around.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Sorry. Oh, you've got one, Julie? Okay. And I'm sorry, you don't have your book.
Yeah,
What's your name?
Chris Bishop.
Thank you. Sorry about that. There you go. So does anybody have a goal in mind that they'd like to?
Okay, sleep. A
Okay,
decent amount of sleep, at least 7 hours.
okay, so you want to increase the amount of sleep that you're getting? Okay, great. Increase healthy sleep. And I happen to be a bad speller, so if I misspell something, please let me know.
We're used to it with David.
I'm sorry.
We're used to it with David.
Good, good, good. Okay, does anybody have any other goals that they want to work on? They know of?
The other thing that I'm working on is the physical activity thing. I started water therapy and Tai Chi,
Okay,
and I'm trying to make sure I go at least twice a week. or
Okay.
3 times a week.
so you want to increase your physical activity. All right, great. Okay. Okay.
You said just to pick 2 to concentrate on.
Right, right. But right now, we want to list at least 5 to give you guys some ideas. So
Okay.
there, let me see what I would usually work on. I would usually have spiritual beliefs and practices, and what I do is try to write in a gratitude journal. once a week at least. And if I'm doing it more than that, then I try to do it daily, and I'll give myself a 5-minute time period each day. So I want to say that as increasing my gratitude.
Practice gratitude, daily gratitude.
Thank you. Okay, this has to be the worst one. Practice. Gratitude. Okay. If you wanted to do something in service to others, you could, the volunteer tutoring is what they have. But volunteering at anything would be possible. So why don't we write down volunteer tutoring? Does anybody have just one of those that they want to choose from? That you're, like an area of your life that you want to work on? Stress management is usually a popular one. Whenever I've done WHAM, that's been one that people want to work on. And it can just be using your relaxation response. And what I always encourage is that bookmark that David gives you that explains the relaxation response, is that you just take that out daily, or maybe 3 times a week if it's a brand new goal that you want to start. Daily might be too much, and so 3 to 4 times a week would be good. So we can do, and you notice that they don't write it, I want to decrease stress in my life. That's where we don't want to focus on the negative, we want to focus on the positive. So it's, I will practice my relaxation response. I'm gonna have to give them some new markers. This one's not the best. Okay. So, Cece, let's work on your goal, setting your goal. The way you want to word it is, I'm going to increase healthy sleep. Right now, how many hours of sleep are you getting a night? Yeah, I know, it could be bad.
Maybe 3.
Okay. And you want to work it up to how much?
Well, they say that my goal would be to get the proper amount that they say that people should get, but if I say 7, I think that should probably be realistic for me.
Okay. Do you have a routine at night that you kind of follow to help you get to sleep?
Not really.
Okay.
I leave, like this morning, I left at 9. I've been to the post office, Walmart, what was the third place that I went to before I came here? At home, at night, when I leave here in the afternoon, I don't pull in until maybe 11, 10.
Really?
And I'm really lucky if I get there at 8. But I've
Okay.
been keeping myself busy. Now, maybe I'm keeping myself too busy.
Right,
Um,
yeah,
But I don't know, I'd rather be too busy than to be shut up and isolated.
right, yeah,
Because that's what I'm getting out of.
yes. And that's really important too,
Mhm.
that you recognize that you don't want to isolate. However, to increase the amount of sleep that you're getting, and experts usually say if you create a routine that
Right.
kind of slows you down in the evening,
Mhm.
and that you follow each day, that can help you to fall asleep sooner than what you are. But it sounds like getting home at 10 wouldn't be too late. If you went to sleep by 11 or 12, you're still getting 7 or 8 hours
Yeah.
in.
Oh, excuse me, but that's
That's
my
okay.
problem. I get in there and I start doing things. I know the third place I went to the dumpster to take cardboard boxes and stuff over at Yum today. Those are
Okay.
2 things I've done since before I got
Yeah,
here.
so you're busy bright and early in the morning
Mhm.
and you keep going until the end of the day.
Yeah.
Okay,
I try to take at least an hour before I'm supposed to go to bed and do things to help me relax.
okay,
Which they work for a while, but then, I don't know.
can I ask what kind of things that you use?
Oh, sure. I'll make myself a whirlpool in the tub.
Okay,
I've got the foot massage thing, meditating.
those
I
are
do
all
those
nice
things.
ones. Okay,
I go down a little bit, but I guess not enough to make a difference. And then, since the weather's been the way it is, I sit out on my little balcony.
right, yeah, as long as it's nice like that, I can see that that would be a draw.
So I'm
For sure.
trying to do things. I guess I'm just scared of being the way I used to be before I came here.
Okay,
And I don't want to go back into that isolation phase.
right, right,
And it's just me, so when I get home, if somebody's not calling me or, wanting something, so forth or so on, I guess being alone maybe might be another thing to fight.
it might be a trigger for you.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I stay busy.
Okay, and I understand that, I can totally understand not wanting to go backwards.
Because I was in bad shape before I came here, just this short period of time
Right,
that I've been here. It's been like a renaissance, is what I call it, because I'm almost back to the place that I used to be, in happier times.
Right.
Or when mentally, physically, and spiritually, I was united and functioning as a human being. That's the way I put it.
yes, yes, and
So-
it's amazing how quickly coming to the recovery center can help
Oh, it has
help you
helped.
feel like you're getting back there.
It has helped. I tell people it saved my life, and I really do mean that, and I'm not just saying that.
Right, yeah. It's been a wonderful place for me too.
Mhm.
And I was an isolator before I came here, so it helped me to give me an activity to come to daily,
Okay.
5 days a week, I should say, not daily, but it feels like daily. Okay, so I guess what I would encourage you to do is not to worry about it becoming isolating, because it's still a way of you taking care of yourself.
Mhm.
And the 3 relaxation things that you're doing sound wonderful. If you were setting the goal, I would suggest that you do it. It says how much will you do and how often will you do it.
Mhm.
And what I would say is 3 to 4 times a week at the most. Because if you're not doing it currently, trying to set it for all 7 days of the week would be overwhelming.
Mhm.
And we don't want you to feel overwhelmed by it. We want you to, it has to be a habit that you can do, that you can see yourself accomplishing.
Mhm.
And even setting it for like 7 or 8 hours of sleep a night, that might be too much to begin with. You might want to say, I'm gonna get 4 hours of sleep instead of 3. Or 5 hours of sleep instead of 4, if you were getting 4. And so what would most likely be beneficial would be setting a bedtime that you would feel comfortable with, and then sticking to that same time. And it sounds like you were doing an hour ahead of time, which is what they usually recommend, is that an hour ahead of time you want to start doing things that relax you. Some things that other people have used to do that is having a cup of tea in the evening. Chamomile tea is a good one for that. There are other herbal teas that you can get. There's like sleepy time tea. I know that's
Good.
a really nice one to use in the evening. But you want to add 1 or 2 things to do that would relax you and kind of let your body know it's time to slow down now. So how much would we do? We said 3 to 4 hours, or 4 to 5 hours. How often you would do it? Would say, I would start with 3 times a week myself for that. And then when would you do it? It's going to be in the evening time, obviously, since this is a bedtime goal. Does that make sense to everybody, how we're doing this? Okay. Does anybody have do either of you have goals that you want to accomplish already in mind?
They're not much different than page 55.
Okay. Do you want us to work on it together like we did with Cece?
Okay.
Okay. Can you share what your goal would be? Or how you've got it written now? And
Okay, since we've already talked about healthy sleep, that's something I think we're all working on.
okay.
The next one would be increased physical activity. And what I'm doing is deep water workouts 3 times a week on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday for an hour each, so that my joints feel more flexible and
That's
that I can
wonderful.
do better in yoga class too. I'm also taking yoga. I would do that a couple times a week. I was also hoping to do it here.
Yes.
I know that we're gonna come out with a schedule pretty soon, and I think, yeah, at 10:30 they have a yoga class. I won't need to take this whole health action management class, because it will be offered at this time, Pam, or we don't know about the schedule yet?
I don't know how the schedule will be next term,
Okay.
but yoga is definitely one of those that does make it on the schedule week or session after session. So
Okay.
that would be something that you could sign up for here.
Yeah, I definitely wanna do that. It's becoming difficult to fit everything in.
That you want to
My
accomplish.
church activity with the fitness center activity that I'm going to during the week.
Right.
And so I just would like to take it here as well.
Okay. That
And
sounds good.
maybe the Zumba class, if that's gonna be offered, or anything that I could do for health and physical activity here
Right.
as well as there.
Yeah.
So that I'm free on the occasional Thursday night to go to my prayer group and things like that.
Okay. That sounds good. So you want to increase physical activity, which is what we have up here for number 2. And it sounds like you're working on that already. Are you comfortable with the 3 times a week deep water thing? Is that a routine for you already, or is that one that you're still getting into?
As long as I'm well, I can do that. I
Okay.
mean, I struggle like everybody does around here
Right?
with just the mental health and the physical health
And
coming
putting them
together
together.
and just, being okay enough to go to an hour-long class like that. That's an
Okay.
accomplishment. So, yeah, I'm kind of there.
Okay.
But I want to get really into it so that I'm always hitting at least 3 times a week
Right.
doing that, and then add the yoga in. And then after I get settled with that and do something like 4 or 5 times a week, I want to add some strength training. But I did want to add the strength training because it is kind of a part of the yoga and the water class too.
Right.
But I want to do some actual
Strength
machines
training.
and things like I used to do and
Right.
just get physically stronger, but I'm not going to do that until I'm committed to going there 3 to 4 times a week, regular basis, and doing something aerobic first.
Okay, and that
So-
makes, that makes sense, because you don't want to add too many things and then feel overwhelmed and
Right.
not accomplish your goal.
Mhm.
So that's really good that you've already got it set up that way. And I think yoga here is offered 1 or 2 times
2
a week.
times.
Is
I
it
didn't
2
know
times a
that.
week? Okay,
Yeah, they're great. They really are.
yeah. So that would give you 5 days a week of doing physical activity, still leave you 2 days for yourself to do whatever you wanted to do. It doesn't sound like it would overwhelm you doing 5 days a week, would it?
No.
Okay. So you would probably say, how much will I do? And that would be the time limit. It's an hour-long class for your water as well as the yoga?
Yes.
Okay, so that's perfect. So how much you would do is 1 hour. How often you would do it is 4 to 5 times a week if you did both of those together. And then when will you do it? And that sounds like it's gonna be based on which class you're going to.
Hopefully Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
Because the classes are set up on Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 12 and then 12:30 to 1:30.
Okay,
So.
that's
that-
great.
That works out with my schedule with church and all that kind of thing, because I go to church at night, or I can go in the morning on Sunday before.
Before you go to your, okay, that's great. Yeah, so then you've got it set up for when you would do it. And then basically what we would do is you want to create a log. Just let me see if they give you an example. Yes, if we turn the page to page 56, and then I'll read that paragraph, and then we'll get into what your action plan could look like. Okay. So once you've created an action plan, the question arises as to whether you will implement it. The confidence scale is used to increase the likelihood of success. Continued success, even in small doses, increases one's self-confidence and the desire to set and accomplish more goals. It works like this. You decide how confident you are about the weekly action plan, using a scale of 0 to 10. 0 is no confidence, and 10 is total confidence. The confidence scale should be 7 or higher, and you can increase the number by lessening the actions, the how many and the how much, by identifying and removing barriers, and/or by increasing the support. For example, you may initially plan to walk 1 mile a day on 5 days during the next week, but you've selected a score of only 5 on the confidence scale. To increase your confidence score to 7 or above, you could choose to reduce the planned walking distance and/or the number of days you will walk. Or you can choose to ask for certain supports, such as asking someone to phone you with a reminder or to walk with you. Okay, so basically, and I'm sure you've talked about the confidence scale before today, but just as a reminder, when you're setting a goal, you want it to be 7 or higher. You don't really want it to be a 10, because if you've got a 10, you're probably already doing it. So, let's see, here are the other, okay. And did David give you all the bookmarks? Okay. So basically, we could turn to the bookmark that's creating a weekly action plan. And it basically reminds you of what your goal is. And we've already kind of discussed what each goal could be.
Do you have any extras of those, Jean?
Let me see. I thought I ran across some more at some point. What's it in this book? I don't. I can make you one after class.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have any
I
extra.
must have not been there that week. Was that
Okay.
last week?
No, you hadn't for a while,
First
haven't
week.
you?
I
He
don't
probably
know
gave
when
them to you
it
at the beginning or something.
was. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You probably need all 4 of them then?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I can run a copy of those off for you
Thank you.
and get that made up. So basically, as you can see, the top part talks about creating the weekly action plan. What will you do? How much will you do? How often will you do it? When will you do it? And what is your confidence score? And then at the bottom of the bookmark, it says your action plan, week, what, how much, how often. And I wouldn't suggest writing your goal on there because it's not enough room at all. But it's just a good thing to kind of remember what your goals are, how to reach those goals, and your confidence score. Does anybody have another goal that they want us to kind of create for them?
Eat healthier.
Okay, so eating healthier, we need to make it a lot more specific.
Eat more fruits and vegetables.
Okay, so, let's go back to page 54, and we're gonna be doing, so what will you do? You're gonna eat more fruits and
More
vegetables.
fruits and vegetables.
How often would you wanna do that? And that you think that you could do realistically?
2 times a day,
Twice a day?
twice a day,
Every day?
every day.
Really?
Yes.
Okay, that's excellent. That's a lot. So that answers how often will you do it, is twice a day, every day. How much are you gonna eat? Are you gonna like add 1 fruit and vegetable in twice a day?
Yes.
Okay, so that's how much you would do. And when will you do it?
Lunch and snack.
Okay, excellent. So you would basically write that up as, I'm gonna do it at lunchtime, and is snack time in the evening?
Yeah.
Okay, and then for an evening snack, what is your confidence scale on that?
8.
Okay, good. Then that's the perfect goal, because you're above 7, so you feel like you can do it. It's written positively, you're not saying, I wanna lose weight, or I want to, I don't know another way of putting it negatively, but it's written in a positive.
Eat less junk food.
Exactly, yes, that would be not what we wanna focus on. But yes, that's the side effect of eating healthier, so that's great. And that was really easy to write up, that's
Sorry.
a good one. No, that's okay, that's, I like it when they're easy.
We can make it more
That's-
complicated.
No, thank you. I can complicate things myself, all by myself.
Gotcha.
Okay, so Christopher, do you have a goal that you want to work on?
I do, like, you probably not gonna wanna hear it. It's kind of just a long range goal.
Okay. Okay, it's okay if you don't want to share, that's fine. If, we have a little more time, so let's go over some other ones that they show on page 55. We talked about the volunteering or tutoring, if you wanted to increase service to others. What you would do would be volunteer tutoring. They have how much time will you use, and that would be 1 hour twice a week. And when will you do it? And that would be after school. So obviously that would be somebody who is already a student, or possibly a teacher. So if you wanted to increase your support network, what will you do? Attend a support group. How much will you do it for 1 hour? And how often will you do it? And that's once a week. When will you do it? According to this example, it's in the evening. So increasing our support network is super important too, especially when we're first getting into recovery. And I think that's one of the reasons the Recovery Center works so well and so quickly for people, is that it does kind of become one of your support networks. It gives you people who are going through similar struggles, and we're here, and everybody's working on it. So it's kind of a camaraderie thing, but also just feeling like you're not alone and you're understood, I think are two of the other things that the Recovery Center kind of, that need, fulfills that need in people, especially when they're struggling with the support network and struggling to not isolate. So yeah. Okay, so another goal is optimism based on positive expectations. So what will you do? Positive affirmations. How much will you do? One affirmation repeated 3 times. And how often will you do that? 3 days a week. When will you do it? In the early morning before I begin the day. So that's a great goal right there. I used that when I was first beginning too. And what I did was I wrote the positive affirmation, or I found the words in a magazine, either way, and then I laminated it and put it on my bathroom mirror so that every morning I saw it and read it, and 3 times a week, reading it 3 times in a row it's first of all, it's not overwhelming because you're not saying you're going to do it every day, but it's often enough that sinks into your psyche, and sooner rather than later you're going to start feeling stronger based on whatever that affirmation was. Mine was obviously something to make me feel stronger and more courageous, is how I would put it, because when I first started coming to the Recovery Center, I was isolating. I had been doing it for so long that I was basically agoraphobic. I left my house only for doctor's appointments, and that was it. That was about the only thing that could get me out of my house at that point. But then I found the Recovery Center, and I signed up for classes twice a week, and sooner rather than later, I wanted to be here more often than that. So I increased my days of coming to classes, and I got to the point where I felt like I was able to work again. And I went and found a job and stopped coming here, obviously, because I was working more. But I knew I could always come back here, and I had made some contacts with friends here so that I could kind of keep them as supporting me while I worked. And then when that job ended, I came back and was volunteering here, and that led to me being hired here, which has been the single greatest thing that has happened to me in my recovery. I couldn't ask for a better boss or a better working situation. just the amount of support is incredible. So,
Who's
okay.
your boss?
Chris. And, yeah, he's super supportive of, if I have a concern at home that comes up, I can go to him, talk to him about it. If there's ever something that happens here that I feel like I need to talk to him about, his door is always open. He's always positively supporting me. And, yeah, it's just a great place to be and to work. But enough about me. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to,
You're sharing your
Going
story.
on.
You get to share your story.
yes, yes.
How long have you been here, excuse me?
I started here, I think in 2014,
No.
and so, yeah, on and off since, so what is that, 5 years? Yeah. That's gone so fast. It doesn't feel like 5 years ago. It feels like it just happened.
So did they ask you or did you ask them?
For a job,
Yeah.
I asked them. I really wanted to work here, and there was a job posted for that I applied for. But my understanding is if you volunteer here and you want to work here, they can usually find some work for you to do. Okay, being on camera is one of those things that they came up with, which I am kind of not the most comfortable being on
You're
camera,
doing a good job.
but thank you. I'm doing the best I can here. So we'll see. Okay, so another one, and I did this too, cognitive skills to avoid negative thinking. Boy, I had some negative thinking going on when I was depressed. And I don't know, I can't say it's the worst negative thinking, but it felt like the worst in the world. So what will you do? Well, write in my employment journal, good things I did at work. So this is something that I could do right now that I'm not currently doing. That's the other thing about the other requirement about your action planning is it's got to be something that you're not doing, but something that you feel like you could do. And since I journal on a regular basis, this is actually something that I could add to my life right now. Luckily, I'm not having a lot of negative thinking as much as I was. But I can't say that it's 100% gone, but it's gone away a lot, a significant amount. But like I said, it's not gone 100%, so this would be a wonderful goal. So how much will I do? 15 minutes. And how often will you do it is 2 days a week. And when will you do it is right after work. That makes perfect sense, would fit into my my current lifestyle. 15 minutes of journaling isn't overwhelming. That's usually what I do anyway. I haven't timed myself, but it's roughly 10 to 15 minutes of journaling. And 2 days a week would work into if I had kept my, what was the other goal I was gonna do? Oh, my gratitude journal. So I could actually work both of these at the same time and not feel overwhelmed, but have two different goals going on at the same time. And that would actually be really beneficial. So I like that. I have never read that goal in here before. Looks like we've already done the spiritual beliefs and practices. Well, no, we didn't. No. Okay, I'm sorry. So spiritual beliefs and practices. What will you do? A morning devotion. how much will you do it, 15 minutes, how often will you do it, 3 days a week, and when will you do it, and that's early morning. So that one could be a morning devotion. A lot of times those are like a daily or kind of spiritual book that, at least that's what I've seen and I've used before, is daily devotion books. And those are real popular, and you can get them for any religion that you're practicing almost. And just, if you just want a spiritual book, those would be good too. So that would probably be 15 minutes of reading and praying 3 days a week and in the early morning. The last one, a sense of meaning and purpose in our life. What will you do? Read an autobiography. Wow. How much will you do it? 30 minutes. How often will you do it? 4 days a week. And when will you do it? Before going to bed. So that's actually what I would consider a big goal. And that's only because when I was more symptomatic, reading was really difficult for me. And because I couldn't focus for long enough to comprehend and then retain that information so that the next time I picked up the book, I would know where I was. But I have to say, in the past year, I did start reading again. And I felt so proud when I got through the first book, because I was like, oh my gosh, I've got my reading back. And that was really important because I have been a reader my whole life. So not being able to read a book was something that was distressing for me. And so this is a great, well, they're all great goals. I mean, this book is, I have to say, it's got to be one of the best books that we have to help people along, to set up their goals and things like that. But reading an autobiography, that would still be a challenge for me, because I'm more a fiction person than I am a nonfiction. But anyway, does anybody have any other goals that they want us to work on, or is there anything that you didn't understand that we covered today? Any questions about how to set up your weekly action plan? The only thing that we didn't talk about that I want to get in here real quick is on page 56 at the bottom, a daily or weekly personal log. And that is simply a way of keeping a record of what you actually do each week in relation to your weekly action plan. It is important early on that the peer leader, the peer, and the peer support group and the peer support group work out a simple and doable way of keeping a daily, weekly log to be reported each week at the support group. For your convenience, there is space provided in the weekly action plan pocket guide to log your weekly and daily progress. And that's what I was talking about earlier on, if David had given you the second booklet. Because that's the booklet that we would use in the support group. And it has your weekly goal, how often you're doing things, and it would just be us coming together and talking about our goals. If we met those goals, we would get support from everybody and encouragement. If we were struggling to meet those goals, then the group would work to talk about the barriers that kept you from reaching that goal during that week, and modifying your goal to make it more doable. So if you're eating healthy every day, twice a day was too much, then we would probably break that down and say, okay, let's work on 5 days a week instead of 7. And that would probably get your confidence level up. If you were having trouble with your sleeping, then we would talk about what kind of barriers or what things happened during the week that kept you from doing that. And then we would try to modify your goals so that it would be more doable. Does everybody understand that? That makes sense? Okay. So that's all we have for today. Next week is gonna be probably a refresher, or not a refresher, but a summary of what we covered. And then it'll be more on the peer support group that I was just talking about. And that's real important. Hopefully David will be back to cover that class. Thank you guys for letting me cover this class with you.
Thank you.
It was good. I enjoyed coming back into WHAM. This is a good class.